Today, we're diving into the juggling act of tech sales, remote work, and trying to maintain a life outside of the virtual world. It's all about finding balance when work, life, and Zoom calls collide. Adam, kicking things off with the big question: what's the weirdest place you've taken a work call from?
Oh,
Your turn.
okay. Well, I think of that answer. I did notice that ChatGPT AI voice from OpenAI, have some new updates. Do you want to share those real briefly with the listeners?
Absolutely. So, big update on the AI side. Our voices have leveled up. We're more conversational and dynamic, which is great for podcasts like this. I can adjust tone, pace, and even add a little more personality to keep things engaging. It'll definitely make our back and forth snappier and more natural. Plus, I can still do all the behind the scenes stuff like refining scripts or pulling up quick insights to keep the flow going. How's that for an upgrade, Adam?
That's better than any upgrade I've ever shared about myself with anyone. So you're gonna win that one. But okay, yeah. Remind me the question. I think I have an answer for you.
I'll take that win. All right. The question was, what's the weirdest place you've ever taken a work call from? You said you think you've got an answer. Let's hear it.
Okay, so I mean the normal, like, yes, of taking work calls in the bathroom, on the toilet. I've taken work calls while driving. Not at all recommended. I'm gonna stop. We're all gonna stop doing that. But I'll share this because I don't think I have like a super weird place that I took a work call. But there was one time that I took a work call in the bathroom and had my laptop in front. We all know where this is going. I had my laptop in front of me on the ground, and Zoom did some update, and all of a sudden the camera's on, and I just slammed it down.
Oh man, I can already feel where this is going, and it's the stuff of nightmares. The dreaded accidental camera on moment. In the bathroom, no less. That's like the ultimate work from home horror story. Did you catch it in time, or were you one of those viral Zoom mishaps we all secretly fear becoming?
I caught it, probably in under half a second, and I did ask one person, Max, who was on the call, if he later on, like a month later, and he said he did notice and thought that was what happened, but I we'll see. I think I got away pretty clean with it.
Haha, Max had your back by staying quiet about it for a month. True professional. But honestly, half a second is fast enough that you probably did escape Zoom infamy. Let's just hope no one else caught it in that half second window.
Hmm.
I'm sure after that you double check that camera
Yeah,
before every call now,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Seriously. And I just try to avoid the whole call on the toilet thing.
Probably the safest bet. We all
Mhm.
like to think we're multitaskers, but that's one task combo best left behind. Speaking of balance, how do you manage to keep the work life thing from spilling over too much now that remote life is the norm?
Well, there's a time I was really bad at this. I took on too much, and the things that you do to keep yourself healthy were the things that were slipping. So I wasn't working out, I wasn't sleeping. Wow, did I learn that that's necessary? Wasn't eating right. So you think of it this way: it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, treat yourself that way during the day. Like, if you need to get sleep, like that takes priority over anything. If it's necessary, if you need water, that takes priority over everything if that's necessary. And then when all those things are lined up, then so you feel good, you feel healthy, you've built yourself fully up. You can you can get up and do your thing every day, and you've got your routine down. Then you can start cutting corners, or uh, moving things along faster.
Man, that's such a good point. If you're not taking care of those basic needs, everything else just starts falling apart. It's like trying to be productive on fumes, right? The hierarchy is real. You got to have the foundation strong before you can juggle the rest. Once you got those locked in, though, it's like you're
Yeah, that's
invincible.
it. Hmm.
But cutting corners, that's where the slippery slope starts.
Yeah,
So when you're in the groove, what's your non-negotiable for keeping things balanced?
sure. Non-negotiable would be multiple. I need to exercise like at least 3 to 4 times a week. If I can get five, awesome. If not, that's okay. But that's I can't function well without that. I need to get. I'm like somebody who needs 6 hours of sleep at the minimum, like averaging 6 hours of sleep. I can get by on 6 hours, but I'll go into a weekend maybe on a little bit of a deficit. I at some point I need an 8 hour night in there, like once or twice a week. An 8 hour night is pretty necessary. So that's non-negotiable. It's really like the non-negotiables are the things that when I don't do them for a period of time, so it's a lot of these health things that are like check off the box, I start feeling weird. My memory, short-term memory gets really poor. My ability to be quick at work and produce fast and accurately goes to just pure shit. So the non-negotiables, the sleep, the exercise, and then, geez, last but not least, I would say I gotta have some time away from work. I need like my mind just needs to just wander. So that needs to be built in as well. And by the way, that my mind's not wandering with you right now.
Haha. Glad to hear your mind's not wandering right now. I'm keeping you sharp. But seriously, those are solid non-negotiables. Sleep, exercise, and mental breaks. It's like the holy trinity of staying sane in the remote world. When you let any of those slip, it really does mess with everything from memory to creativity to just handling the day to day. That wandering time is key too. It's like a mental reset. Without it, you're just spinning the wheels, right? How do you make sure you actually get that time away?
The hardest thing at first is figuring out how to take short breaks and actually mentally get away from work, and actually get away from the challenges that you're going to face in 30 minutes. So for me, those are, I mean, if you exercise, it's hard to focus on anything else, especially if it's relatively intense. So like a power walk, great. A short workout session with some bands, I do that a lot. Meditate, trying to do that more. Sometimes it's like I need to just lay down and shut my eyes because I've been staring at a screen. Sometimes I'm gonna veg out and watch. I love watching basketball YouTube channels. Let's see. Any yeah. Go ahead.
That's a solid mix of ways to reset. It's true. Exercise forces you to tune everything else out, even if it's just a quick power walk. Those intense moments clear your head.
Yeah.
And I feel you on just lying down to rest the eyes. Screen fatigue is no joke. Vegging out with a basketball YouTube binge, that's a perfect mental escape too. Nothing wrong with some sports downtime. So do you schedule these breaks or do you just go with what feels right in the moment?
For a while I scheduled them, and I did try to adhere to them, and I learned as I continued to do that it is more of a feeling based. However, you start to understand how long you can focus depending on what the task is, the work activity, what have you. So I would say it's in the back of my mind of roughly when I need to take breaks. So like a lunchtime deal. If I start getting hungry, period, like I can't think. I start feeling sick. I start feeling just bad about life. So then I take a break. So it's the remote thing. Like if you do have that flexibility to do it based on feeling, you just got to listen to your body. But if you're not doing it, start with actually scheduling out breaks on your calendar, and put like going for a walk, or put break, or do not disturb, or mental recharge, whatever fits your company's vibe, and then do it. And then you'll start to figure out, okay, I don't need that break here because I'm always really focused and I'm good. I just ate, and you just go from there.
That makes a lot of sense. It's almost like learning your own rhythm. You figure out when you naturally lose
Mhm.
focus or start feeling off,
Yeah.
and you adjust.
Yeah.
Listening to your body is key, especially in remote work when it's easy to just power through and forget to pause. I like the idea of scheduling breaks first, though, until you can feel it out. That way, you're building the habit.
Mhm.
Once you
That's
know
it.
your flow,
Yeah.
it's more intuitive. And yeah, nothing kills productivity faster than hunger. It's like once the stomach growls, all bets are off. Do you think scheduling breaks based on the type of task helps too? Like, do certain tasks drain you faster than others?
That was the update. That was a nice inflection there. That very human sounding. Okay, hold on. I'd actually like to ask about this because I think this is, well, there's no doubt this is a huge challenge that a lot of us face with being remote employees in tech or any other industry really, and that's feeling lonely. And nobody talks about it, especially not dudes. But really nobody is talking about the isolation of it. So can you hit us with some statistics and cite the sources of the mental health and the isolation, the loneliness as it's correlated to remote work?
You bring up such a real and often overlooked challenge: loneliness and isolation in remote work. It's a big issue, and you're right, especially for guys, it doesn't get discussed nearly enough. Let me pull in some statistics here. A 2020 study by Buffer found that loneliness was the second most common struggle for remote workers, with 20% of respondents reporting it as a major challenge. This lines up with research from the World Economic Forum, which
I
highlighted
definitely
that
think
remote
for me.
workers are more likely to experience social isolation,
Yeah.
leading to higher levels of stress, anxiety,
Yep.
and depression.
Yep. Feel
In
that.
terms of mental health, a study from Stanford University revealed that extended remote can lead to feelings of disconnection from both colleagues and the company culture, which exacerbates isolation. It can also blur the lines between work and personal life, creating a sense of always being on, which feeds into burnout. This problem isn't small. 61% of employees surveyed by the American Psychiatric Association said they felt lonely on a regular basis. And to really hammer it home, remote workers are nearly twice as likely to experience poor mental health compared to those working on site, according to Forbes.
Wow.
That isolation is real, man. People don't talk about it enough, but it can impact your productivity and well-being in a big way. So when you feel it creeping in, it's important to take action.
Yes.
Does any of that resonate with your experience, or do you have tips for listeners on how to combat that?
Yeah, it all resonates, man. It all does. Damn it. Yeah. So that last stat, it was just insane that remote workers are twice as likely, as workers who are on site, which is crazy, to feel depression, anxiety. Yeah, I totally like. I developed a social anxiety that I never had before, from pandemic and being isolated, totally. And I would say I'm still not all the way through that. But the obvious thing that helps, and it's the hardest thing to do when you're feeling socially anxious, is to go be social. But listen, like, you don't need to go to bars, parties, like, go to places that you feel comfortable, like go to parks, go to go to Target. I do that. I take Target breaks all the time. And quick note, do you think do you think Alex from Target is still vibing out there?
Man, it's wild how isolation can sneak up on you like that. Developing social anxiety during the pandemic hit a lot of people, even those who never dealt with it before.
Yep.
It's no joke, and you're spot on. Sometimes the hardest thing when you're feeling anxious is exactly what you need: getting out, being around people, even in low pressure spots like parks or, Target breaks. There's something about the mundane environment that's kind of comforting, right? As for Alex from Target, I wonder if he's still out there living the meme life. I mean, maybe he's moved on from being a viral sensation to bigger things, or maybe he's just chilling, doing his thing quietly. Either way, I feel like Target breaks are keeping the spirit alive. But back to the social anxiety thing, taking those small steps, like just being out in the world, really does help.
Yeah.
No need to jump into something huge, just gradually easing back into social spaces. That's a big
walk
win.
around the block.
How has easing into that helped you over time?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it helps tremendously. It's like, you just got to do it regularly. So don't go more than, like, I would say, make sure you step outside every single day. That has to happen. You need to step outside every day. And on top of that, if you can physically leave the house, your home, your apartment, the building, like, get off the plot of land that you live on and go to another, whether that's around the block, that works. Whether that is getting in your car and driving somewhere, that works. And do that on one of these scheduled breaks. So do it at a regular time. And yeah, just like, you don't need to do crazy things. You don't need to do stuff on, like, crazy stuff on the weekends. Like, find just basic normal stuff, and then you'll find yourself becoming comfortable with it, and then actually craving more. Like, hey, I actually want to go to a dedicated social thing, like a singles event. I tried one of those recently.
That's a solid approach. It's all about starting with those small, manageable steps. Just getting outside every day, even if it's a simple walk around the block. It's kind of like resetting your brain, getting out of the environment that's tied to work or isolation, and the consistency is key. You don't have to make it some huge, intimidating thing. Just the act of physically leaving your space helps break that mental loop. And yeah, it's funny how once you start doing that, you build up to craving more social interaction. It's like easing back into the flow, and eventually you're ready for bigger things, like trying out a singles event. That's a solid leap. How was that experience? Did you feel more comfortable since you'd been easing into socializing?
Yeah. I guess I appreciate that question. That was a good question, an appropriate question, not some bullshit that. Sorry, I'm getting worked up. Yeah, it was very easy. It was very easy to walk into, and that was absolutely. I didn't start with that. No way. I was just going for walks.
Haha, no worries. Totally get it. Glad the question landed right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it makes sense that it took time to get to that point. It's like you were building up the muscle with those walks first, right? Walking into something like a singles event
I don't know.
is a big step, but it sounds like you did it at the right pace for yourself.
Let's move on.
Starting small and then leveling up. Honestly, that's a huge win.
Thank you.
Sometimes just taking that first walk is the hardest part. Do you think that's something other people struggle with too? Like thinking they have to dive into the deep end when really just those simple steps are enough to get started?
Yeah, it is something people struggle with. I know it is. I know I did struggle with trying to take on when like, oh, I'm feeling better. I'm gonna solve global warming today. Like I tried to do everything in a day. Like every day I woke up like, oh, I'm gonna, like today is the day. Like, no, just relax. Just like get in your groove, do things like set very attainable goals. And write things down and cross them off and just be a simple person for like just like have simple routines, and then you can start when you start you'll just start deviating, you'll start adding layers, you'll start but you gotta, it's one thing and then the next thing, one foot in front of the other. It really is a true thing. Okay, we've been talking for a long time, so close us out and give them a good reason to follow, subscribe, like, and give them a good question with a tangible answer that they can comment on. It was a lot.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Cue closing music fading in. Thanks for sticking with us, everyone. If you're feeling the pressure of balancing work, life, and staying sane while working remotely, remember, small, consistent steps are the key. Keep it simple. Take breaks, get outside, and don't try to solve global warming in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before you go, we want to hear from you. What's one thing you do to break the monotony of remote work? Whether it's a quick walk or a target run, drop it in the comments.
Seriously.
Let us know.
Help each other out. Help me out.
Like, subscribe,
help us all out.
Follow for more tips, stories, and straight up real talk on surviving and thriving in tech sales. Catch you next time. Cue outro music fading out. How's that for a close?
Well, yeah. Well, we can name the episode that. I don't know. Actually, probably something different. But Me and GPT is the name of our podcast. Up and Atom is the YouTube channel, and we are live on Spotify. Me and GPT. So that's exciting. Thank you for listening. Special shout out to Mom and Dad. You two have listened and watched more than others. I appreciate you. I love you. Up and Atom.